Hordak is in charge of the Horde.
For the Horde!
No, not that Horde, even though he kind of looks like he'd fit in with them. Actually, Hordak is from Masters of the Universe, and he's kind of like Mr. X. Most people are like, I have no idea who that is, but he looks cool as hell. Hey guys, welcome. I really appreciate you tuning in. Today we're looking at Hordak. This is a 1/5 scale statue from TWEETERHEAD. Now, as I said in the intro, Hordak is a Masters of the Universe piece. So Hordak was introduced way back in the 80s when I grew up on Masters of the Universe, and he was initially introduced as a bad guy, but he also fought Skeletor. You know, all bad guys want world domination and all that. And then eventually Hordak ended up being a main part in the She-Ra series. So that's kind of the female version of He-Man, but he still dabbled a lot in Masters of the Universe. And he was kind of an interesting cat, even though he wasn't a cat. He had a few different variations, which TWEETERHEAD did some of those variations in this statue we're going to talk about. And he knew about technology and gunpowder and stuff like that, but then eventually he learned about the magic that Eternia had, that Skeletor and other beings in Eternia had, and he kind of focused on that, which is why he became pretty powerful and pretty badass. Personally, I like him a little bit better than Skeletor. He's not as whiny. And that's where I plan to put him. I actually plan to put him in my Masters of the Universe series. You saw that in the thumbnail. I've done reviews on almost all those pieces, including this Skeletor right here from Sideshow Collectibles, which is also 1/5 scale. And then I have this 1/4 scale custom He-Man, and a few other pieces as well. Now, this is the third piece I've ordered from the company TWEETERHEAD, and I have to say I am not disappointed. I think they're 3 for 3 so far. Kind of a spoiler as we dive into the in-depth review of this amazing piece. So this is the exclusive version. I bought it directly from TWEETERHEAD. It actually arrived about a week ago, but I haven't had time to get the review up to you guys. So let's wait no more and dive right in, starting with the concept of this piece. Now, it's been a long time since I've had any interaction with Hordak. I mean, not personally, but you know, with the cartoons or the toys. I had the toys growing up, so a lot of the reference I may be a little bit off. And as usual, if that's a problem, go cry to your mom. I'm sure she's making your lunch for you today anyway. Now, I love the base on this piece. So Hordak is all about bats. You see that throughout his costume. It's really part of his signature trademark, as opposed to the skeleton with Skeletor. So on this base, you have 3 different things going on. You have some rocks on the bottom, and they're very Eternia-like rocks. There are some QC issues we'll look at with the design. And then you have this metallic-like castle, almost like futuristic, which is what I love about this piece, because it really takes on that medieval part of Hordak, plus the advanced technology. And then you have bats wrapping all the way around. You have a big skull with wings, which could arguably be either the front or the sides, and 2 huge wings wrapping around the back. He has a raised up platform he's stepping on. His cape is here flowing in the wind, and he is fully armored out. I love this guy's outfit. It's fantastic. I love what TWEETERHEAD did with it. I believe they added their own twist to some of the variations. We'll talk a little bit about the variations in the design. So he's in this medieval type armor, very Masters of the Universe. I have him holding his staff on the left hand, classic villain of Masters of the Universe. On the right, he actually has something which was quite a surprise. It's his futuristic cannon. We'll talk more about that in design. And he looks evil and badass. And I love this portrait, like I said. I think it's kind of their own twist, their own take. He looks amazing. This is what I'd consider a museum pose. So he's kind of posing for a picture. There's not really a lot of action dynamic stuff going on. But I love it. I love the concept. I love the base. I love everything they did with him. So I think the concept's a 5 out of 5. This is exactly what I want with the Hordak statue, especially with some of the different design options when it comes to display. So we're going to look at those with the design. However, first I want to show you the quick unboxing and assembly. Came in a smaller box as one would expect for sure. And TWEETERHEAD always does a great art box. From the sides to the top, standard white foam. And then it was one layer with everything encased in the wax paper. And there was a little surprise. You can kind of see it right next to the body there we'll talk about. All right, let's grab the dimensions. So first, the tallest point is right under 20 inches, although the staff might be a little bit higher. Yeah, the staff's about 20 and a half. The deepest point is approximately 11 to 12 inches. And the widest point is probably about the same. It's about 12 inches. The staff, obviously, and the arms stick out a little bit more. Now, as I said, this is 1/5 scale, which means a real-life version would be 5 times larger. And because this is the exclusive, which you can only get from TWEETERHEAD, there are some additional display options. So first, let's look at his right arm. He can either be pointing, and I believe this is the regular version right here. Then the exclusive version came with this surprise cannon. This, to my knowledge, this wasn't advertised, but it is awesome. Now the left arm, all the versions I believe come with this staff. Then I was unaware you just had a regular left hand, which looks good too as well, and I think this may be for the exclusive only. Every version comes with this portrait, and to me this is the better portrait, so this is not an exclusive or bust. Unless you like really classic Masters of the Universe, then you have this portrait, which to me is really true to the roots. It's what I remember from the toys, and this is the exclusive only. And this kind of reminds me of that merman piece that I reviewed. Very classic Masters of the Universe. I think it would go really well with that, but I like more of a modern twist, modern take on my pieces. So lots of great display options. Now the other thing I failed to mention, the cape is removable, as you saw. I looked at it both with and without. Here's a picture of it without. It still looks awesome. They did a lot of detail on his body. And then here's the picture with. And I much prefer it with the actual cape. This is actually how I plan to display him right here. And as I said, I had one big QC issue. Take a look at this picture right here. This is on the front. It's just sloppy, where the statue's either glued in, there's some glue runoff or some paint runoff. And it's like that where all the rocks meet the metal. Some areas worse than others. But otherwise, everything fit really well. So I would give it a perfect 5 out of 5 for design, except for that problem right there. So I think it's a 4 out of 5 for design. Great switch out options. He looks fantastic. Now we'll dive into the paint and sculpt. And this is where I said TWEETERHEAD really hasn't been disappointing me lately. I think it's really, really good. I think Hordak himself is better than the base, but the base isn't bad. Let's start at that. Now, while I think it's awesome conceptually, and I don't think it's weak, I think it's the weakest part of the statue. So starting with these rocks here, I like the coloring actually, because I think it blends well with a lot of Eternia settings, and there's some good shading in the black. The sculpt's okay. Where it really meets the metal, figuratively and literally, is not where it's the best. So I don't know how I'm feeling about that. Some of this paint on the wings here, I like how it's different colors of red, or maybe they just use some black to embody it. I think it crosses over well. The choice of colors is good, but there's something about it that's a little too flat for me. The same about the top of the base here. Those ridges in there. And I think there could have been a lot more detail in the sculpt. I like the front skull here. That looks pretty cool. I wish more of the side wings were more like that front. The metal looks okay, very plain. I like how they added the black indentions there to give it a little bit more form. Let's look at his cape really quick. I like his cape a lot. So it's a leather type feel material on the back. I'm pretty sure it's fake leather, pleather. And then this cloth highlighting gold, red material on the front. I think it's a good contrast with the statue. Like I said, not a lot of colors here, but I think they used them well to play off each other. As you move up him, you have two things going on. First is kind of that bodysuit, or it could be his skin. I'm not quite sure. I'd assume it's his bodysuit. And I like the patterned lines in there. You see a little bit of muscle definition, but not much, which is good because he's not He-Man. You don't want him over-muscularized. Then you have that armor on top, which looks fantastic. I like the skulls in it. I like the contrast between the grays and reds. Even the armor on the front here, the little loincloth, which is fully sculpted, and it looks like material, so I think that's really well done. At least I believe it is, yeah, fully sculpted. Sorry, I wasn't touching down there. I was saving that for later. But even like his torso here, look at the intricate detail. I wish they would have done a lot more of this over the statue because it looks fantastic. Really impressive. Same with his shoulder pads here, his armor. These awesome skulls all over. And then even on the arm here, kind of flowing into a bat skull. This cannon looks great. And we will look at both portraits here. His long nails, Very Skeletor-like in my opinion, which is, you know, partially what they based him off of. And even the gauntlets on his hands. So it's the same colors over and over, but they did a nice job. I like his staff. Again, that bat symbol intertwined with almost a spear. Some more of that light silver to mix with those golds. Here's his other portrait. Again, like I said, very cartoon Mattel 1980 toy reminiscent. It does look good. It's just not my flavor. Including the mohawk on the back, going all the way around. So like I said, it is really good. I more prefer this one. This is, like I said, almost like a modern take because there's a lot more detail in this as well. Which, like I said, definitely not an exclusive or bust. But I think the paint job in his mouth could have been a little bit cleaner. But I like the skin colors and the texture on it. It still has that spiked mohawk, those huge elf-like ears. And then the beady orange and red eyes. So really well done overall. Pretty impressed. To score the paint, I really like it. You know, there's not a lot of variations. It's black, gray, and red. I would honestly give Hordak a 4 out of 5, and I'd give the base a 3 out of 5. So I'm not quite sure where that score lands, so we're just going to kind of leave it like that. I hate to score it separately, but I definitely think Hordak's better than the base. Now, the true is same with the Sculpt, but I think the Sculpt on the base is better than the paint. So I think it's a 4 out of 5 on both of those. It's not 5 out of 5 due to lack of micro detail, but I still am incredibly impressed with this piece. Now, what's even more impressive is the value on this. $4.75 with free shipping. This is like what prices used to be. A little bit higher than what they used to be, but still a lot more affordable. We're seeing 1/5, 1/4 pieces for $500 to $900 or even $1,500. With all the display options you get. Edition size on the exclusive was 360. Now, what's really interesting to me about that is if you look at Sideshow's 1/5 scale pieces that they did, their edition sizes on some of those was in the thousands, like 4,000 or 5,000, I believe, on He-Man and Skeletor. So I think the value is a 5 out of 5. Honestly, I don't plan to do a lot more of my Masters of the Universe collection. I'm on the lookout for one other piece, and then I have one other piece on order. If you want to know what that is, stay tuned for the Extreme Acquisitions video in a few days here. But does the statue have the X Factor? Is it a 5 out of 5? To me, it's certainly a 4 out of 5. It's very close to a 5 out of 5. I think because he's a secondary character, that drops it down a little bit in ranking for me personally. But if you're a huge Masters of the Universe, I would say you think this is a 5 out of 5. So let's try and put my bias to the side. I think this is a 5 out of 5 statue. I am continually impressed by Tweeterhead, and I know they're going to continue this line, so I may even pick up some more Masters of the Universe pieces from that line. But I appreciate you guys tuning in. Please drop me a comment and a like on your way out. It really helps the video. Also, punch that picture of me if you want to see more cool stuff like this. Until tomorrow, take care of yourself. Wait, maybe not tomorrow. Yeah, I think tomorrow.